The nation's #1 beach now has dead fish washing ashore. A look at the ongoing impacts of red tide on the Suncoast. Plus, the cause of the 2-hour shutdown at a major Sarasota intersection this evening. Plus, UTC Mall has been paying millions of tax dollars to the wrong county. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC7 News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Matter. Well, red tide levels continue to be at very high rates in area beaches, and that's causing some big problems. Lots of dead fish are being spotted, keeping many beachgoers away. We'll have more details on that with ABC7's Rick Adams in just a few moments. Well, let's take a look at the Florida Fish and Wildlife, who released its midweek tide report this afternoon. It shows Manatee County is still in the clear, but there are now high concentrations of red tide in North Sarasota County. That's near dead marine life is not just washing ashore here, but all across southwest Florida. Sea turtles, manatees, fish, even other animals like whales are dying from this red tide outbreak. The FWC reports nearly 300 sea turtles have died since a red tide algae bloom started late last year between Sarasota and Collier counties.
Our mortality numbers this year are up. It's on pace to be a really high year, and that's due in part to having red tide and a very cold winter.
Well, there have already been at least 490 manatee deaths this year as well, with 80 of them likely caused by that red tide. There were only 379 sea cow deaths in all of last year. And ABC7's Rick Adams, he joins us now live from Siesta Beach, which is one of the beaches here on the Suncoast that has been severely impacted by that red tide. Rick?
Yeah, Jacqueline, good evening. There are thousands of dead fish here. On top of that, the smell is almost unbearable. Fish of all shapes and sizes, including eel-like creatures, line the entire stretch of Siesta Beach.
We've never seen anything like this. Like, I've been in Sarasota, I'm 22, and I'm born and raised here, and there's been red tide and you see dead fish, you know, whatever, but nothing where it's like many beaches and it's literally all along both sides. Like, it's insane.
The Florida Wildlife Commission has reported high levels of red tide, and that could be to blame. The Gulf of Mexico waters had a murky, dirty look to it, which is very unusual for beaches here on the Suncoast. On top of that, the strong smell was unbearable for many. Andy Hale had just come to Siesta Beach from Chicago. He says he's been visiting the Sarasota area for 50 years, and he was shocked at what he saw.
Sometimes as vacationers, we think of just the inconvenience, but I'm looking again at the marine life aspect of it and just seeing all the fish and all the different types, and it's sad.
Siesta Beach remained pretty empty for the most part, and there wasn't anybody in the water. But for some of those folks who braved the beach, they had to see for themselves just how bad it is.
It's actually a lot worse than I could have ever thought. I remember when I was younger, the red tide, but it was never like this.
And Sarasota County workers will be cleaning up the dead fish tomorrow. They'll actually determine if machinery is necessary for that cleanup. Reporting live from Siesta Beach, I'm Rick Adams. Jacqueline, back to you.
Rick, thank you. Governor Rick Scott signing an agreement to fund repairs to the Herbert Hoover Dike in Central Florida. The Department of Environmental Protection and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says this will fix the overflow of algae blooms from Lake Okeechobee. Some believe that those algae blooms have contributed to an increase in red tide in South Florida. According to Governor Rick Scott, $50 million will go toward fixing that dike. Well, let's check in with meteorologist Steve Newman for a look at our first alert forecast. And Steve, I know we've all had our umbrellas on standby. Will we have to keep them around tomorrow?
The storm's about over, but we nailed this forecast. I'll show you in a minute. You can see the clouds moving up from the south to north across the Sunshine State today. Earlier in the day, we had heavy storms in the interior that kind of moved off Jacksonville in the evening hours. And then another line, our computer model, the future radar I was showing you earlier tonight, was really indicating that we would have a line of strong storms moving across us as we move through the evening hours. And sure enough, they materialized. But that line, as I'll show you in a few minutes, is pretty much breaking apart. There was a lot of lightning earlier tonight, but that line of storms is dissipating. We'll probably see a repeat of that of sorts tomorrow afternoon. I'll tell you about that and the tropical weather outlook in just a few minutes. Jacqueline.
Thank you, Steve. Fruitville Road is reopened after a gas leak shut it down in both directions near Honore Avenue. Sarasota County fire officials say a construction crew hit a gas pipe just after 5 o'clock this afternoon. This gas leak forced drivers to take a detour off of one of Sarasota's busiest roads during evening rush hour. Some business owners near the gas leak were grateful that everyone was safe, but a bit upset that they lost 3 hours of business. Fruitville Road did reopen around 8 o'clock this evening.
We want to make sure everybody's safe, and we're looking at all of the gas that can accumulate. Natural gas is lighter than air, however, it is accumulating in the stormwater drains, and we just want to make sure that we're safe and keeping everybody away.
Thank God they find the leak and no problem in the area, and no any engine, no any problems.
Fire officials say no one needed to be evacuated and nobody suffered any injuries. Friends of a man killed on I-75 on Monday are concerned about drivers on the interstate, saying speeders go unnoticed. We reached out to the Florida Highway Patrol to see what they're doing to combat that issue, and they say preventing accidents are just as important as reacting to them. Their statistics showed troopers wrote about 2,000 speeding tickets in Sarasota County last year, but Lieutenant Greg Bueno says this is an issue that goes beyond what they can do as officers. He urges every driver to remember the importance of being safe behind the wheel.
Can't stress it enough how seriously we do take our job, because we don't want someone getting hurt on our roads. We want everybody to make it to their destination safely, but we want to stress the importance of being responsible behind the wheel at all times is on an individual basis.
FHP says about 3,000 people die in crashes on Florida roads every year. In 2016, 68 of those deaths were here in Sarasota County. Well, today kicks off Child Safety Awareness Month, and the Florida Highway Patrol reminding drivers to focus on child safety while on the road. From properly buckling a child into a vehicle to making sure they arrive safely at their destination, drivers are being urged to keep children in mind at every turn. To help you keep your child safe, FHP is offering free car seat installations and safety checks at major troop stations throughout the state. Parents can call and schedule an appointment at any local FHP office. They're also reminding drivers to never leave a child unattended in a car, especially here in Florida, where temperatures can cause injury or death in just a matter of minutes. A former tax collector employee has been sentenced to 4 years in prison after pleading guilty to numerous charges. Florida Highway Patrol Bureau of Investigations says Roberta Mary Cotton will spend time behind bars for 1 count of scheme to defraud the state of Florida and 41 counts of falsifying public records. Cotton and another clerk, Janine Hill Hall, were stealing the $225 impact fee for registering new tags in Florida and had forged more than 200 records. The two clerks stole more than $100,000 over a span of 4 years. In addition to prison time, Cotton had to pay more than $6,500 in restitution and forfeited the remainder of her retirement from the state of Florida. Cotton is also expected to testify in the trial of her accomplice. A Bradenton man is behind bars tonight accused of trying to sell about $5,000 worth of drugs. According to Bradenton Police Department's Special Investigation Unit, they arrested Jermaine Griffin during a traffic stop. In his car, they found about $1,000 worth of marijuana and more than $4,000 worth of meth. Griffin is now facing several charges, including armed trafficking of meth. Meanwhile, this man tried to use a fake $100 bill at the Publix on Toledo Blade. Northport police say after he tried to pay with the fake money, he took off in a white 4-door Volkswagen sedan. Detectives say if you recognize this man, who is described as a Hispanic male around 5'2" and 250 pounds, to call the Northport Police Department. And Sarasota police need your help identifying this woman. They say she used a stolen credit card at the Publix on US 41 and 10th Street, right across the street from the boat ramp. If you have any clues as to who she may be, call Sarasota Police. Well, an error by the Florida Department of Revenue sent the sales taxes collected at stores within University Town Center to, get this, the wrong county. While the mall is in Sarasota County, millions of dollars in sales taxes were sent mistakenly to Manatee County. This puts the county in a bit of a tight squeeze. It was just last month that Manatee County had to dip into its reserves for an unexpected shortage of property tax revenue. It could end up costing Manatee County more than $4 million thanks to that mistake. Manatee County spokesperson Nick Azara says the county will discuss with state leaders to find a solution moving forward.
Either ask the state to absorb that error, or to determine, how it will impact our budget going forward, whether we need to work with the state on a repayment plan over time.
Now, this could affect the Manatee County School District as well, as they collect a half-cent sales tax. We did leave a message with the Florida Department of Revenue to get an indication on how this error could have been made, but we did not get a response. A good day for people looking for affordable housing in Sarasota. The Barancic Foundation donated $1 million to help build housing for hometown heroes as part of the Lofts on Lemon project. Hometown heroes include people such as teachers, nurses, police officers, and firefighters. The Lofts on Lemon project is created by the city and Sarasota Housing Authority. Next year, they plan to build 80 affordable housing units on 9th Street between Lemon and Cohen Way. The Barancic Foundation's donation will fund 15 units that are specifically for those hometown heroes.
That if we can take this hometown heroes theme, this philosophy, and roll it out across certainly Sarasota so that our teachers and firefighters, police officers, and those hometown heroes can afford to live in the area they work, what a great start to help to solve a bigger problem.
The Sarasota Housing Authority expects to break ground on that project in 2019. They say they will start accepting resident applications about 6 to 9 months after construction begins. Well, stay with us. Meteorologist Steve Newman will be back with your first alert forecast, plus why it soon could affect your wallet if you're paying with a credit card instead of cash, and why TSA wants to stop security at some airports across the country.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone.
Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398. Or visit SoClean.com today.
My California Closets experience has been wonderful. My mother's a huge inspiration. Before she passed away, she would say, you should do something special for yourself. First time I saw my closet, I immediately thought, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself. I call it my Tiffany style closet. I mean, I can shop in my own closet every day. I love that. My name is Cynthia, and this is my California Closets story.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Steve, I have to tell you, the ABC7 weather app has been my best friend these past couple of days because we never know where those storms are going to come through, and it's really helped me because I'll be leaving somewhere and it'll say the storm's about to come and stay back inside.
And that's what happened this evening. We had a line of thunder showers and a lot of lightning. You could hear it too coming across the Suncoast, but it really didn't amount to much. We'll look at that on radar in a minute. But if we look eastward from the Lakewood Ranch Cam, earlier today the storms were in the interior over in DeSoto and Hardy and Highlands County up to Polk County, and they thinned out through the evening hours, and then we had some more storms develop in the last 3 or 4 hours. Currently the temperature at the airport is 78, cooled off by those passing storms. Dew point 75 with a humidity of 90%. And our high today was 89, pretty close to normal for both the high and low. The low, record low, 65 in 1968, and back in 1972 it was 101. I remember that day because I was doing the weather here that day. Now across the state, high temperatures 88 in Tampa this afternoon, Fort Myers 90, the same at Key West and Miami. A little cooler in the Panhandle because they had a lot of rain up here earlier today. Just had wave of rain that kept them fairly mild. And across our viewing area, 94, 95, about the warmest spots today along the coast, pretty close to 90 degrees. Now here's what happened. About 6 or 7 o'clock, we started noticing the future radar was predicting something that looked exactly like this to happen, and sure enough it did. That's amazing that 6 hours ahead a high-resolution model can predict this emerging from nothing. I didn't believe it at first, but after 2 or 3 computer runs, sure enough, it verified. A lot of lightning, but you can see it dissipating, and all that's left of it right now is moving up the trail toward West Bradenton and up to the Sunshine Skyway, but even those areas of rain are beginning to thin out. Well, across the nation, high pressure is our dominating weather influence. This is the Bermuda High, and its position and strength determine our weather all summer long. And it's been very strong all summer. It's suppressed the hurricane season, and where it moves, it alters the wind flow. And I think over the next couple of days, instead of the flow being from the south, it's going to be more from the southeast, giving us a more typical summertime pattern. Not really hot over most of the country today. These are high temperatures, 84 at New York City, 86 at Chicago, 88 at Kansas City. Hot in Dallas, 94, but this is where the heat was, with Death Valley coming in with 120. They ended July as the hottest month anywhere in the world. They had 4 days in a row with 127 degrees, the closing days of July. It's a warm planet, at least in the northern hemisphere this summer. And because of a lot of Saharan dust blowing across the Atlantic, our hurricane outlook is still not very active right now. Nothing is going on whatsoever. We would expect that this time of year during July and early August. It really starts to heat up in later August and into September. The Caribbean and Gulf remain quiet as well. And we do have tropical storm, Hector, that's right, moving out in the Pacific. Not really any influence on the United States weather. Well, here's our future prediction, our future cast for Florida for the next 2 days. And if you'll notice, the flow becomes more southeasterly, that more typical pattern I was telling you about that allows our afternoon sea breeze to kick in and then collide with the east coast flow, producing afternoon evening showers and thunderstorms. And we got a pretty good chance of them happening tomorrow. As we heard from Rick Adams, not the greatest time to be out on the bay or Gulf, seas 2 feet or less. The beach with the red tide, not great, but the water and bay temperature 87. Here's my forecast for tonight. Look for temperatures to be pretty close to 75 for the overnight low temperatures. Winds will be light. And tomorrow, a partly sunny day, but the thunderstorms will increase in chance to 60% late in the day, high 90. And here's our 7-day outlook, showing that pattern continues right on through the weekend into early next week. Maybe Monday will have more sunshine and less chance of rain. That's our weather, Jacqueline.
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, the way you pay for meals at your favorite restaurant could soon change as some consider passing credit card fees onto the customers. Credit card companies are charging businesses for making many of those transactions. So in order for shops and restaurants to avoid paying hundreds of dollars in fees each month, they're turned to changing the payment options, Some businesses have decided to accept cash only. Others will give a discount to those who do pay in cash, and a few will charge customers more if they pay with a credit or debit card.
Go to the menu, that price there is a cash price. So when you get your bill and you go to pay with a card, because a lot of people don't carry cash, they're going to charge them more.
Another thing that may be surprising to some customers is that a debit card is still processed as a form of a credit card at some businesses, so it seems the only way to really get out of these extra fees is to carry cash. The Literacy Council of Sarasota is offering GED classes this fall, and registration is now open through August 18th. These GED classes will be held on Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. for language arts and on Thursdays for math at the Glasser-Schoenbaum Human Services Center. Classes include hands-on instruction and a computer lab. Now, space is limited and pre-registration is required. We have more information for you at our website at mysuncoast.com. Well, you may be able to skip the screening line the next time you fly. The Transportation Security Administration is looking at cutting security screenings at more than 150 small and medium airports. This, according to internal documents from June and July. The agency's records estimate that the move would save more than $100 million, money they say they can use to fund more security at larger airports. TSA currently screens almost 500 airports nationwide. A new court ruling that would allow early voting sites on college and university campuses in Florida is moving forward. Today, Secretary of State Ken Detzner told a federal judge that Florida will comply with an order that previously struck down a policy barring those locations. However, election supervisors in some counties with large college campuses like Hillsborough County, where the University of South Florida is, say it is too late to secure early voting sites before the August 28th primaries. They also are worried whether they can nail down on-campus sites before the November general election. Well, the father of a Parkland school shooting victim slamming the Trump administration on the issue of 3D printed guns. Before being blocked by a federal judge today, 3D blueprints were made available to the public for download. It's the result of a settlement between the government and a gun rights group. Fred Gutenberg's daughter Jamie was one of 17 people killed in the Parkland massacre back in February.
All of the talk of hardening schools that came out of what happened in Parkland and previously, not going to matter anymore. Someone can now walk in with a gun. There was no need to do this, and the problem is this was a purposeful decision by this administration.
A federal judge in Washington state temporarily blocked that release just hours before they were set to be made public by the Texas-based group called Defense Distributed. 8 states and the District of Columbia are suing the Trump administration, asking the courts to permanently stop the release of these 3D printed guns. The Broward County School District is suspending its investigation into the killing of 17 people at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, saying that it conflicts with a state inquiry. Staff members at the school are about to be interviewed by the state commission investigating the shooting, and the district says it does not want to subject them to a second round of questioning. Well, we have alligator mating season here on the Suncoast, and a little north of us in St. Augustine, they have bat season. Bats swarmed the nation's oldest city last night, and people who live there better get used to it for the next 2 weeks. There are some benefits, however, to having them around. A local animal trapper said one bat can eat up to 100 mosquitoes in just an hour.
Right now, actually, if you do have bats, legally we cannot remove them without a permit from Florida Fish and Wildlife.
Well, bat season lasts through August 15th. Sports is next, but first, here's what's coming up on Jimmy Kimmel.
New tonight.
3, 2, 1.
Don't you dare move, because Sean Diddy Combs is here.
What? Yes.
And get to know Glo's Betty Gilpin.
What if we talk about our worst childhood traumas?
Emmy-nominated Kimmel, new tonight on ABC.
Excuse me a minute. Hi, Dad. No, don't try to get up.
Hi, I'm Julie, a right-at-home caregiver. And if I'd been caring for Tom's dad, I would have noticed some dizziness that could lead to balance issues. That's because I'm trained to report any changes in behavior, no matter how small, so Tom could have peace of mind.
We'll be right there. We have to go.
Hey, Tom, you should try Right at Home. They're great for us.
The right care, right at home.
Our nurse, Jennifer, all we did is pick up the phone if I was having a bad day, and the next thing we know, she was here at the door. I can't believe that I would have received any greater care anywhere. From that moment on, everything changed dramatically. And I don't know what we would have done without that.
You know, fortunately, this was my first job out of college, so I was able to come back home and work in my hometown. I wore two hats. I was sports director and I was a news anchor. I did that for a few years and then decided to go full-time into news. Well, I love our team here at ABC7. We have a great mix, and it really is a great mix of personalities, of experience that meshes really well into a really strong team. I'm Scott Dennis, and I'm here for you.
To be able to just get my son here and not think about how we will pay for it, it just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
Every day, we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Now, sports.
Ohio State head football coach Urban Meyer is being placed on paid administrative leave. The school is investigating claims that several people close to the coach knew of a 2015 allegation of domestic violence against one of his assistants, former Ohio State assistant football coach Zach Smith, who was fired in July. Offensive coordinator Ryan Day will now be acting as the team's head coach during this investigation, with the first day of practice starting on Friday. Well, Raymond James Stadium is now a smoke and tobacco-free venue. Tampa Sports Authority leaders say the need for this healthier environment was evident from fan feedback, national trends, and feedback from their tenants like the Tampa Bay Bucks and University of South Florida. People can smoke before entering the stadium, but they will not be allowed to exit and re-enter. The first event that will be impacted by this will be Taylor Swift's Reputation Stadium Tour concert on August 14th. The Tampa Bay Rays hosting the Los Angeles Angels at Tropicana Field today and smoking them with a 7-2 win. They'll have a rematch tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And a local student recently competed at the kiteboarding World Championships in Italy. St. Stephen's student and Anna Maria Island resident Cameron Maramanides placed third at that competition. He made the Youth Olympic kiteboarding team last month, so big congratulations to him on his win. That's a look at sports. We'll have tonight's winning lotto numbers when we come back.
My California closets experience has been wonderful. My mother's a huge inspiration. Before she passed away, she would say, you should do something special for yourself. First time I saw my closet, I immediately thought, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself. I call it my Tiffany style closet. I mean, I can shop in my own closet every day. I love that. My name is Cynthia, and this is my California Closets story.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us fly! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
The Florida Lottery winning numbers are sponsored by Frontier Fios.
Take a look at this. The mayor of Idlewild, California had to evacuate because of the fires that are out west. He's now in Temecula waiting for the all clear, but he did post this picture with some firefighters on his way out that are saving his town. I've actually gotten a chance to meet Mayor Max there in Idlewild, California when I went out there for Christmas. It's a beautiful area, so I hate to see that it is being devastated by those wildfires out there.
It's tough. Did you shake paws?
We did. I actually have so many pictures of him. It's probably a little embarrassing. He's very cute, very sweet dog. So.
Well, the thunderstorms that rumbled across our area tonight are ending, and overnight we should be mainly dry with temperatures cooling off in the 70s, but we're going to fire this thunderstorm machine up again tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Steve, for joining us tonight. Thanks. And thanks for joining us right here on ABC7. We'll see you right back here tomorrow evening. Have a great night.
Good night.